Hey, how you guys doing? Robert Terrazas, founder and CEO of Empire Lending Group. So this is it. This is phase 3, the knowledge phase. By far the most important phase of them all. We're really going to get into depth on different investments, different investment vehicles, private mortgage investing, really things so when you guys are done with this section, you really have a firm grasp on what you need to research more in depth. Now, there's no way I can make a video for every single one of these investment vehicles. I would have 1,000 videos, but I will give you guys references to where you guys can do your own research on those investment vehicles and find out if those vehicles are best for you or if what we offer is best for you at the specific time in your life right now. Alright, so let's hop into it. First, I'm going to cover just some basic things that really everyone should know. And just before I hop into this, this video truly is for people that have not invested, that are new to investing and are really looking to educate themselves and get into it. So if you're currently investing or feel comfortable, you can skip forward to the second part, to what private mortgage investing actually is. But even if you don't, watch this. I'm sure you learned something new. But if not, like I said, skip forward right ahead to what private mortgaging is and what we have to offer. All right, for the rest of you, let's go into this. So what I want to go over is, whenever you start thinking about investments and even income, you need to know what tax bracket that falls into. And now there's three. There's earned income, which you earn from a job where you go to and your employer pays you a paycheck, and that is your main source of income. Through that, it falls into a certain tax bracket. It's earned income, and it's actually the highest tax bracket out of them all. It's taxed around 33%. And that's not including Social Security as well as medical. So after those things, it's taxed even higher. The next tax bracket is portfolio income. Now that's going from things such as stocks and where you're getting paid dividends. And I'll go more into that later when I touch on those investment vehicles. But this one is taxed less than the earned income. And then by far the best is passive income. Passive income is taxed by far the least and is generated typically through vehicles such as real estate. Alright, so now that you guys know that, really what you guys want to start doing is look at how you're making your money and also future planning, figure out what tax bracket, when you're going to make money, what that falls into. Does it fall in passive, portfolio, or earned? Really you want to start leaning more towards portfolio and passive, because that's going to have you retain the most amount of money without having to give it away for taxes. Alright, now for you guys that have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, this next concept is nothing new, but for you guys that haven't, which I strongly suggest you guys do read the book, but in case you guys didn't, I'm going to go over one of the things in there that's very important, and that's the difference between assets and liabilities. So Robert Kiyosaki said that it's incredibly important that you know how to read a financial statement. We need to make financial statements for everything we do, and to make sure that everything we're doing financially is balanced. So what he says is you need to make sure you have more assets than liabilities. Well, what are assets? Robert Kiyosaki defines assets as something that puts money in your pocket. Most people think this, and this is Robert Kiyosaki's opinion, but I tend to agree with him. Most people feel that their home is their most valuable asset or their most valuable investment. Well, Robert Kiyosaki says that this is actually not true because we have to pay utilities to stay in that home. We have to constantly make repairs on the home. And even though we can sell it and gain a profit from selling it, it's a one-time transaction. But up until that point, you are constantly paying into that home. So it really falls into the liability section by his definition, and really by mine as well. Because really, there's so many expenses for your homes, your power, your gas, your water, and like I said, again, any sort of repairs that you need to make. So really, when you think about it, it's not an asset. It is not something that is putting money into your pocket. You are constantly paying the mortgage as well as those other utilities. So I use that as an example, but really we have a ton more. Your vehicle is obviously a liability. You have to make a payment on it every month. You pay gas and any sort of damages you have to repair. Obviously insurance would cover it, but you get what I'm saying. So start breaking things down into that and start saying, okay, do I have more assets than liabilities? And if not, I need to start obtaining more assets to be able to cover my liabilities. Just like the concept I covered in the last section, where I went over where he said having people pay for your bad debts. And what he meant was acquiring more assets to be able to generate cash flow to pay for those bad debts. All right, so before I start going into the different types of investment vehicles, I need to touch on something. I talk to people all the time, and I present them with what our business does. The problem is most people say, oh, I'm already currently investing in this, and I'm happy with it. And that's great. It's great to find something that you're comfortable with and continue to invest in it and learn more about it and really become an expert in that exact vehicle. The problem is that most people I'm speaking to on a daily basis aren't as educated when it comes to investments. Typically, they're handing their money over to someone to be able to manage and purchase securities for them. But the point I'm trying to make really is that people are comparing apples to oranges all the time. So what I mean by that is you should have two different types of investments at least. You need something that generates cash flow on a monthly basis so you can pay your bills and you have money. And on the other hand, you need something that appreciates. So it's constantly growing, and at some point you can sell it for a large profit. But a lot of the time I speak to people, they are in a appreciation, or they have appreciation investments, and they don't have those cash flow generating investments, like what private mortgage investing is. So really when I talk to people, they kind of have a closed mind because they don't truly understand. And because they don't understand, they think really something's trying to be sold to them when truly our company's trying to help them. So understand that when I'm breaking down these investment vehicles, because I'm sure a lot of you are probably currently investing in some of these vehicles now. So understand that you need different types of investments to really be able to achieve your financial freedom. There are two different types of investors, really, when it breaks down to at least being categorized by the SEC. You have accredited and non-accredited investor. So an accredited investor is an individual or someone who's married that has their net worth is over $1 million. Or in the last 2 years, if single, has made over $200,000, if married has made $300,000, within reason to make the same amount of money the next year. So really, the SEC defines an accredited investor as someone that is rich. But rich by a number. They meet that minimum standard of making those amounts of money, and therefore they are categorized as being accredited. Due to this, they are allowed to invest in the investments that non-accredited investors are not allowed to. Non-accredited investors are anyone that doesn't meet those standards, so anyone that falls below that. So understand this. Most people are non-accredited investors. So you got to understand that the investments that they are getting are what's called sanitized investments. This means that those investments have been scrubbed over and they've found the safest investments to be able to present to you. And then you're able to choose which one you want to invest in. But understand that those aren't necessarily the best investments. They could just be the lowest risk. Because really then they're able to present them to you and say, hey, we have some of the safest investments there are, look at these. But you got to understand, you may not be getting the best yields or best returns on those investments. So keep that in mind, all right? So let's get into it. Let's get into the different types of investment vehicles. Okay, so the first one, bonds. What are bonds? Well, bonds are money that is lent to a company or to a government. The pros of this are, if it's a stable government, it's almost virtually guaranteed that you're going to get your money back. Some of the cons are is because it's such low risk, the returns are pretty small. Or second, you have stocks. Stocks are typically what people think of when they think of investing. Stock or equities, same thing, are when you actually own a portion of a company. You're purchasing a share. And because of this, you are actually able to vote when they hold meetings. So understand, you can actually determine the direction that the company goes. The more shares you own, obviously the more say you have in that company. Some of the pros to this are they have some of the highest yields that you could ever have, but on the same side, they're also very inconsistent. They fluctuate daily, and they can be higher risk, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Stocks are an excellent way to invest, but you just got to keep in mind of exactly what you're doing and what is it for. Is this going to be paying me dividends on a monthly basis, or is this going to be appreciation type of investment? So keep that in mind. Okay, so mutual funds. A lot of people invest in mutual funds. They're great. It's a collection of stocks and bonds that a group of investors pulls their money, and they're able to invest in different things. And typically they pay someone to manage their money and to be able to purchase and sell securities for them. All right, so some of the pros for mutual funds are you're utilizing other people's time and other people's experience. This is excellent because really you can be anywhere in the world and you know that someone is managing your securities or managing purchasing and selling of assets for you. It's also the same con because really you don't know this professional, or typically you don't know this professional, and you don't really know if this person knows as much as they say they do, and really you're trusting someone you don't know to handle your money. Alright, so CDs. Most people, their first steps towards investing are with CDs. Now there's many different types of CDs, but these are just some of the basic rules for them. CDs really, all it is the bank saying, lend me your money and I will pay you back at this interest. The longer amount of time you lend me the money, I will pay you back more. Now the problem with CDs are the lengths can really go out pretty long, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and really the return is not that great. It is definitely one of the pros is you can pretty much guarantee that you're getting your money back, especially because the FDIC will cover up to $250,000. As long as you're under that $250,000, you know that you're going to be able to make that money back in case anything ever happened. So it's really low risk, but on the return side, you're not really gaining that much. Another drawback is with most CDs, it is taxed as earned income. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, and another one is most people don't think of a savings account as an investment vehicle, and it is. You put your money into that account and you make back interest. The problem is with a savings account is using that as an investment vehicle is that really the interest you're generating is so minimal, 0.01% interest, that you're really not even keeping up with inflation. And I talk to people all the time that have money in these bank accounts, so they have $100,000, $250,000, $300,000 in their accounts, and it's sitting there and it's losing money every year due to inflation. So when you invest, you at least need to have something in an investment vehicle that is keeping up with the inflation rate. All right, so keep that in mind too, because by having money sitting in an account, you're technically losing money. As well with a savings account, it's taxed actually very high. All right, and one of the last ones I'm going to cover is real estate. Now there's a lot of different subsects to real estate, but I'm just going to cover a couple, okay? Typically with our company, with Empire Lending Group, I deal with people on the other end that are borrowing money from us, which are the rehabbers. These are people that purchase homes, they put in some work, they fix up the property, and then they sell it for big profits. But most commonly, people, when they think of real estate investing, they think of a person who purchases a home or a single-family residence, 1 to 4 units, an apartment, commercial or industrial property, and they rent it out to a tenant. Now, this is one of my favorite forms of investing, as well as a lot of other people, because it's a hard asset. They're able to see it. It has many pros. It's a great cash flow generator, especially if you have the proper property management company behind you, and they're making sure that the tenant that there's always tenants in the property, and that it's being well kept and everything like that. You can really make a great amount of money. The tenant is also paying off your mortgage for you, and it's generating cash flow for you. Some of the cons are, and really the biggest one is everything falls back on you. You own the property, so ultimately you are the one responsible. If anything happens and it's not the tenant's fault, you're going to be the one paying for it. And not everyone can deal with that, and that really goes into my next point. With these investment vehicles, you need to really step back and think, what kind of person am I? Am I the person that needs to see hard assets, or am I a person that's okay with handing my money off to someone else for them to manage? You just have to kind of find out what's best for you personally, according to your personality, and really what's best for you financially at your time. Do you need something that's going to be generating cash flow right now, or do you need something that's going to be appreciating? It just really depends on you, and that's what we're trying to do at Empire Lending Group. We're really trying to educate you so then you can decide, and then you're more comfortable with these investments and say, I need this, or I need this. All right? So if you guys remember, I said keep in mind when I was touching on with mutual funds, handing your money over to a money manager. And I said one of the cons is handing your money off to someone that you really don't know. Now that's okay, but you really don't know if the person is a professional or not. I'm sure that they are, but the point is, you know what's best for you, no one else. So if you educate yourself, you can substantially and drastically lower the risk that comes with investing. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors, the man's worth $72.3 billion. He says that risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Because people ask me all the time that, oh, there's risk in this, there's risk in that, I can't do that, there's too much risk. It is incredibly risky to do anything in life if you don't know what you're doing, especially if there's some sort of danger with it. So example I always give people is, if you were 5 years old, you had never seen a car and never ridden in a car, but told to get in one and drive it, how risky would that be? I'd say that'd be pretty dangerous. But then if I told you, okay, instead, let's say you were 16 years old, you have ridden a car almost your entire life, you have seen people do it, you've had now people teaching you how to do it, now you were told how to drive, or now you're told to drive. How risky is it now? It is substantially less risky because now you've had the training and you know how to do it. Now it's just an example I give, but the point is whenever people invest, you have to understand that every single investment has risk, but you can dramatically lower that risk if you're able to educate yourself and you know what you're doing. And this goes to my next point. People really want to have these really widely diversified portfolios. The problem is that they're really trying to be jacks of all trades, or a jack of all trades. The problem is that you really need to be a king of a niche and know your niche and the ins and outs of it. Know an investment vehicle that generates your cash flow, know an investment vehicle that is appreciating. Know those two and know every in and out of them and become an expert in those fields. Warren Buffett again says, wide diversification is only needed for investors who don't know what they're doing. Really at that point it becomes, you're gambling. You're putting money out there and you're hoping for one of those things to pop, for you to get a return on one of those. Instead, you need to learn about the investment that you like or that you feel you need, and then really become an expert. All right, so I'm going to leave you guys with one final quote, all right? Warren Buffett says, Wall Street is the only place that people ride to in a Rolls Royce and take advice from people that take a subway to get there. So what he's saying is exactly what I was saying back when I was explaining mutual funds. Just because a person works there doesn't mean that they're a professional. And it truly doesn't mean that they're utilizing the advice that they're giving you for themselves. So really, you need to educate yourself so you can make your own decisions. Alright, so I hope you guys got something out of this video. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact anyone at our company. We love answering you guys' questions and helping you guys along the way. After this video, it's solely going to be on private mortgage investing and what it has to offer. You guys are really going to start seeing the cool stuff and how it works. I'm really excited for you guys because things are going to start clicking in your head. If you guys need anything, go back, watch the other phases, and then pick back up if you guys are confused on something. But again, keep an open mind. Go over the reference material that I put next to these videos, and everything will start coming really smoothly to you guys, and your eyes will start opening up, and you will see everything that I've been talking about through all of these videos. Okay. So I wish you guys the best of luck on your journey towards financial freedom, all right? And I hope you guys have a good day.